My name is Ronika Jacobs, and you found my podcast, Strive for More, Your Best Life Now. While there are hundreds of thousands of podcasts out there, you've taken the time out to listen to this one. So for that, I would like to say thank you. So without any further delay, let's get to it. Let's strive for more.
My next guest, Dr. John McGrail, is helping people strive for more in the area of hypnosis for greater mental and physical well-being. Dr. McGrail is a clinical hypnotherapist, but honestly, he's more than just a clinical hypnotherapist. Dr. McGrail is an established self-improvement expert and a sought-after spiritual teacher who has become one of the United States' leading media experts and public speakers relating to personal growth and successful life transformation. His company, A Better You Incorporated, serves a worldwide clientele, helping individuals of all ages and backgrounds, as well as select corporate clients. His services range from individual sessions to motivational presentations, training seminars, and workshops. In this episode, he will explain hypnosis and why each of us can greatly benefit from it, as well as his technique called the synthesis effect. Hi, Dr. John. Welcome. Thank you so much for being a guest on my show. How are you?
I am great, Ronika. How are you today?
Oh, I am feeling fabulous, fabulous. It's a little hot, but, I guess it's summer in full swing.
Yes, indeed.
Okay, so what exactly is hypnotherapy, and what is it best for?
Well, you have to start with an explanation of hypnosis first, because hypnosis is the tool. Hypnotherapy is the use of the tool. Hypnosis is a natural state of consciousness that, frankly, we all experience every day, even though we don't know it. Anytime we watch a good movie and have an emotional experience, or a TV show, or read a good book that we can't put down, and we're trying to figure out, oh my God, what's going to happen to Harry Potter? We're having this real emotional experience, but we're watching or reading something that is in complete illusion. So it is that state of consciousness that creates a very open, receptive state of mind. And because it's a natural state of consciousness, virtually everybody can do it. And using the open state of mind, we can help people create change, growth, and transformation in their lives and get by the internal resistance to change that we all have. That is the process of hypnotherapy, using the tool, hypnosis, that state of consciousness, to effect change in someone's life. And it can be used across the behavioral spectrum, from getting rid of fears and phobias, building self-confidence, improving performance, managing stress and anxiety, which is a very big topic these days. It doesn't really matter what the subject is, as long as it's not mental illness or there's no physical brain damage. Hypnosis is a very powerful tool, and hypnotherapy has been in use for almost 7,000 years.
Wow, I never really thought about that we could experience hypnosis daily.
We do. In fact, when you fall asleep at night, you're awake, you're aware, you close your eyes, and then you go through this transition until you're unconscious, until you're asleep. Right before sleep would be what we would consider a deep state of hypnosis. So you're not quite awake, you're not quite asleep. It's a very dreamy-like state of mind, but it opens the mind to new possibilities, and that's where its power lies.
Wow. So let me ask you this. Is it similar to like when you get in your car and you start driving, and then all of a sudden you arrive at a destination that you frequent a lot? Is it something like that? And you wait and you realize, wait, how did I get here? Is it something like that?
That's exactly right. you are in hypnosis. Yes, you're awake, you're aware, but your conscious mind is preoccupied. Your subconscious mind takes over. And the beauty of the subconscious mind is that it controls most of our behaviors, our attitudes, our values, our patterns, good, bad, or indifferent. And hypnosis allows us to communicate with that part of the mind. But that is another form of natural hypnosis. How did I get here? Where's my exit? Exactly right. Yes.
Wow. Yeah, I've had a couple of those moments where, especially on my way to work, and then I'll realize, like, wait, I don't even remember. I just drove here, and I wasn't even thinking about what I was doing. It's kind of scary sometimes.
It happens to everybody.
Yeah, well, I'm glad I'm not alone. All right, so what attracted you to become a hypnotherapist?
Well, that's a bit of a long story, but I've always been fascinated by the mind-body connection since I was a kid, really. And I got to a crossroad in my life where I knew that I was meant to do something to serve, and that the favorite parts of all the jobs I'd ever had, and I've had quite a few. I was a military and commercial pilot. I was in film and television for many years, multimedia, and in various positions, but the best part of all the jobs I've ever had was teaching and coaching and mentoring. And I just reached a point in my life where I knew that that's what I was supposed to do, and I looked at a lot of different avenues to express that, from medical school to naturopathic medicine, divinity school. And after that search, and it took months to really kind of look at all the different possible ways, I realized that hypnotherapy was the way that really resonated with me the most, because I had used a hypnotherapist myself to make a very profound change in my life. It also would afford me to get to work and build a career in the shortest amount of time. I didn't have 8 or 10 years to go get a PhD in psychotherapy because I was in my 40s. And so it brought all my interests together. It allowed me to use all the experience I've ever had. I was able to start fairly quickly after a year instead of many years. And I tell you, as I like to tell the people, I haven't done a day's work in 20 years since I made that decision.
Wow. Well, as they say, if it doesn't feel like work, then that's your purpose, or that's what you're supposed to be doing. That's awesome.
Exactly.
All right. So in the movies, such as like Get Out, The Manchurian Candidate, or even Carrie, there are these scenes where a character is hypnotized, and of course negative consequences and effects ensue. Can you please dispel myths or concerns for people concerning hypnotherapy?
I would be delighted, Ronika. Those things that you see in the movies and the TV shows where someone is hypnotized and then they go jump off a cliff or something are just that. They're movies and TV shows. We cannot make anybody do anything in hypnosis that they wouldn't normally do. And as I tell people when I do lectures or workshops or seminars on self-improvement, and we talk about hypnosis and hypnotherapy because it always comes up, people are very interested about it. When I talk about it, I tell them, because everybody thinks, oh, are you going to make us quack like ducks or cluck like chickens? And I say, look, folks, if I could make you do what I want you to do, I would. I would do it. And I would be the most benevolent ruler of the planet that ever lived, because I would create an army of people to go out there and fix all the problems in the world. But I can't make people do what they don't want to do or what I want them to do. What I can do is, using this powerful tool, is help them create the person they want to be, to create the change and transformation in their lives. So yes, those dramatic uses of hypnosis in movies and books and TV are just that. It's myth. It doesn't work that way.
It's amazing how often we mistake the movie for reality.
Yes, exactly. It's just like Superman really doesn't exist and he can't fly. Oh, bummer.
Right. Exactly. Okay, so I know you talked about earlier, and we discussed, that whole right before you're falling asleep, that's a form of hypnosis. So that makes me think about yoga or meditating. Is that similar to self-hypnosis?
Yes, meditation is a very similar feeling state of mind. And in fact, meditation and hypnosis work really well together. We use hypnosis and hypnotherapy to create change in your life quickly. And then we use meditation, or I do in my synthesis process, I use meditation as a tool to maintain that change systemically. But they are very similar in how they feel, even though they affect different parts of the mind, and they work extremely well together. It's a beautiful combination. Create the change quickly, and then a tool, meditation, to maintain that change systemically.
Within using meditation, so what about the people, unfortunately, kind of like me, who have a difficult time calming their mind to meditate? So could it even help people like me?
Yes, the key to meditation is not to have too many expectations in the beginning, and there are many kinds of meditation, but the key to making meditation an effective tool is to do it consistently. Most people, unfortunately, in modern Western culture, they'll try it, they'll do it 2 or 3 times and say, doesn't work for me, and then they give up on it. Because our minds in modern Western culture are so ingrained and programmed to be doing. We're all about doing and achieving and acquiring, and we're so out of balance. And it's not just people like you. It's as a culture. It really takes some time to undo that and bring the mind back into a more balanced state. And the only way you can do that is with consistent practice. And you have to give yourself permission not to be, quote, good at it right away, because there's no such thing. You either do it or you don't do it. Some days it's amazing and you have this incredibly transcendental experience, and some days the mind just won't quiet down, and that's got to be okay. But the key to making it a powerful tool is consistency, and that's where most people, if you will, mess up, because they don't stick with it long enough to help their mind come back into that balance that we need so very much.
Well, thank you, Dr. McGrail. That helps out a lot, because you're right. We are a society that is based on achievement. I mean, everything is based on getting it right and doing it perfectly. And so I think that's, for me, like, often I feel like I'm not doing it right because I start thinking about other things, or have I meditated long enough, or, just all these things I have all these thoughts that flood my mind. And then I feel like, I just messed it all up, so I'm not good at meditating.
Exactly. And every client I work with, all my students are taught how to do some basic dynamic meditations. And the key, I tell them over and over and over again, be consistent, don't judge, and you will see that with practice and consistency, those thoughts will start to quiet down. Your mind will do it. It's your mind. You own it. You can make it work the way you want to, but it's going to take some practice. It's a skill. It's like learning to play the piano. You don't sit down the first day at the piano and go to Carnegie Hall and play a concert. You have to practice until you get good. And then once you get good, you practice some more and you get great. And meditation is very similar to that.
That makes sense. That makes a whole lot of sense. You developed a technique called the synthesis effect. Can you explain what this is to the listeners?
Synthesis is the term I use to describe the technique I use to help people create change and transformation in their lives. And it incorporates hypnotherapy, it incorporates meditation, and it incorporates other models, tools, techniques, and methods, some as old as human civilization, and some the result of the latest cutting-edge discoveries in science about the nature of matter and energy, the human mind and behavior. And we bring these tools and techniques together to help both the conscious part of the mind, which is the part of the mind we're so used to working with, and the much more powerful subconscious spiritual part of the mind. We use these tools to help the mind come together and synthesize whatever it is the person wants to create, or what I say, to synthesize your better you. The name of my company is A Better You Incorporated. So synthesis is the process, and it varies somewhat with different people, but there are some basic models that I use to help people understand how and why they got to be in the mess they're in, and the tools that they can use to help them get themselves out of that mess. And then in my book, The Synthesis Effect, I actually guide them through the process so that by the time they reach the end of the book, they're actually actively doing synthesis and hopefully improving their lives a great deal.
So what exactly can you use the hypnotherapy for, or even your technique, the synthesis effect? Like, what are some types of things people can use it for?
Well, anything that is keeping them back, and you can use this across the human behavior. As I mentioned before, I've got clients from age 7 up to 85, and I see people for reasons from just doing better in school, at work, or at play, getting rid of a fear or a phobia or a limiting belief about themselves, like they're not worthy or they don't deserve success, or perhaps they have a fear of success. That have chronic stress and anxiety, which, as I mentioned a little earlier, is very, very prevalent these days, particularly with what's going on. But even before that, I'd say for the last 5 years, probably 90% of my new clients in my clinical practice come in with chronic stress and anxiety because our society is so stressed and anxious. So it can be used to get rid of a habit like cigarette smoking or biting your nails or pulling your hair. Any behavior or pattern that isn't mental illness or physical brain damage can usually respond quite well with hypnotherapy and the synthesis process, provided that the person really wants to make the change and is willing to commit to the work and embrace the process, because it is a process. One of the mistakes that many people make about hypnotherapy especially is that it's going to be magic. They're going to come in, they're going to get tapped on the head, they're going to go into a little hypnotic trance, and poof, they're different. It doesn't work that way. It doesn't take you a day to get into your mess. It doesn't take a day to get out. It takes a lot less time to get out of it than it took to get in it. But it is a process. So you have to want it. You have to commit. You have to do the work. And if you can, it can change just about any behavior or pattern that you don't like in your life.
And so now, since we've been in our new normal throughout this pandemic, so is it possible to still have sessions with you, but then it's remote, or how does that work for people, just in case someone would like to book with you, but of course they can't get to?
Well, no, I'm not seeing anybody even locally. All my sessions are being done remotely, and the beautiful thing about this process is that virtually any issue that you can work on in the office, you can also work on remotely with the technology we have today. So all my sessions are remote. I am working with people all around the country and even abroad. I have a client in Norway. I've had clients in Australia, Colombia, South America, every continent except Antarctica, and it works just as well. And unfortunately, given the circumstances and this new explosion we're having in the infection rate, I'm not going to be opening the office up for a while, it doesn't seem. So, yes, all sessions are remote, and they are very, very effective.
Nice. Okay, so you have a number one rule in life. Can you share it with the listeners and then explain why this is your number one rule?
I can indeed. I'd be happy. Rule number one in the McGrail method is this: life is supposed to be fun. Now, we are not taught that in modern Western culture, and you probably hear me say modern Western culture over and over again, because we have become so imbalanced energetically as a culture. And what I mean by modern Western culture is technology-driven, achievement-oriented culture, which is most of the modern world. Our natural state of being in life is well-being. Nobody comes into life with anxiety or obsessive-compulsive disorder or any of these things. We learn these patterns. Our natural state of being is well-being. And when I say life is supposed to be fun, I don't mean that it's supposed to be an endless series of hedonistic experiences and all you do is party. What that means to me is that you really, really like the way you're living your life. You like the people you're associating with. You like your relationships. Hopefully you love what you do for a living, so that when you wake up, you can't wait to get to the day because it's so enjoyable. You feel so empowered. You're living up to your potential. You're using your talents and abilities. And you've learned not to care what other people think about you, that's the essence of true self-esteem. And when you achieve that level of living, life becomes a very, very fun experience. That's what it means. And it's doable. The key thing is most people think they're stuck with what they've got. Everybody has whatever they need within them to create the life of their dreams if they're willing to do the work and get the help they need, because most people need help to make these kinds of changes, which is where people like me come in.
Well, I can agree with your number one rule, because I can tell you, although I do love my job and being in education, it has been such a fulfilling career. But once I added this podcast and interviewing people, it just kind of upped the value that I hold in life. Like, I just get so much just joy and fulfillment from each episode that I publish. So I can agree with that. Life for me right now is definitely fun.
Excellent. Keep doing that. Keep growing. Keep searching for new opportunities, and you're living your purpose. And that's really what it's all about. We're not put on the planet to suffer. We've been taught that, but that's not the way it's supposed to be. We've been put on the planet to thrive, to evolve, to create, to whatever that means. That's why we're here. And when we find our path, like you have and like I have, it just makes it's such a wonderful experience. So congratulations on that. You're doing a great job.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Well, that's our time, Dr. McGrail, but I have one more question for you. So my last question, I always like to ask my guests one last question. It has nothing to do with the topic that we've been talking about. So my question to you is, what's your favorite color and why?
My favorite color, I have to say colors, green and blue. And I'm not sure exactly why, but I think it has to do with those are the most prevalent colors you see in nature. And I absolutely adore time in nature when I can just unplug away from society and civilization and bathe myself, if you will, in the perfection of nature. So green and secondarily blue are the colors that really resonate with me because I feel peace and joy, contentment, and I think of being in Mother Nature.
Yes, those are beautiful colors, and they are prevalent in our world, and they make our world so beautiful. Well, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate you. Can you do me a favor? Can you please take the time to let everyone know how they can either purchase a copy of your book or seek your services?
Yes, thank you for the opportunity. First of all, the book, The Synthesis Effect, is available on Amazon or barnesandnoble.com in both paperback and Kindle form. And all you have to do is go to Amazon and either look my name up, Dr. John McGrail, or the title of the book, The Synthesis Effect, and it will bring you right there. You can order it online and have it delivered probably the next day or download it right there. As far as reaching me, if anybody has any specific questions about what I do or their lives, I will say before I even give you I answer every question, email, and phone call personally. I don't have my staff do that. So if someone does reach out and they have a question or would like to explore this a little bit, you will get a personal, confidential answer from me personally, never any obligation. And I can be reached probably most easily through my websites, www.hypnotherapylosangeles, all one big word, hypnotherapylosangeles.com, or more simply, drjohnmcgrail.com. And on those sites are my email addresses, my phone numbers, and so you can email me or call me or check out my YouTube channel and reach me through my YouTube channel. I've got a lot of great video content up there, Dr. John McGrail. And as I said, you will get a personal, confidential response. There's never any obligation. I just love helping people find their way to that rule number one.
Any last words of encouragement for the listeners as they strive for more?
Well, let me just say this one more time in case you didn't hear it. You have whatever you need within you to create the life of your dreams. You may need a little help to get it out because most of us do. That's just the way the human mind has evolved. It's got nothing to do with you being inferior or there being something wrong. So many people think there's something wrong with them. It's just a question of the way the mind works. So it's in there. If you want it, you're willing to do the work, you can have the life of your dreams. Please go for it.
Dr. John, thank you so much. I wish you nothing but blessings and abundance in your life to you and your family. Please take care.
Well, Ronika, thank you so very much as well, and I wish you the same. Blessings.
We all have some not so favorable habits we wish we could banish forever. If one of those habits is interfering with your life so much that it is making you miserable, consider contacting Dr. McGrail or any hypnotherapist and allow them to guide you towards your preferred reality. Remember, hypnotherapy cannot make you do something you already haven't been wanting to do. Have you ever wanted to ask any of my past guests a question? Send me an email and I will share it with my past strivers. I will share the responses with you. You never know what gem or advice you will receive. Send your question to striveformore@email.com. That's strive, the number 4, strive-for-more@email.com. Continue to strive for more and live your best life now. See you in the next episode.